This is the Fantasy Football Unlimited podcast with your host, Kevin Murray.
Welcome to the Fantasy Football Unlimited podcast. Today we have an incredible guest. He is the creator and developer of FanDraft, the world's greatest digital draft board in fantasy football. It's Randy Leslein.
Howdy. How's it going, Kevin?
It's great. I'm glad to have you here. We've interacted many times. This product is one of my favorite things in all of fantasy. Obviously, it changes the game when it comes to fantasy drafts. So happy to have you here.
Thanks so much. Happy to appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. So this software is complex. It's changed each year. It's gotten better and better and better. When did it all begin? I guess when did you first play fantasy football? When were you first introduced to fantasy?
Oh boy. I started in 1992. So these were like some very different days. It was just one day, I think it was sophomore in high school. Just me and a buddy, just like, let's do this thing. I heard about something on TV about it. So it was very like early internet days. It was like America Online. So really the internet didn't exist. These were the days of you draft a team, you do it all in person, and then every week it was all the scoring tabulations would be like entered in manually to desktop software. People would write down their starters on a piece of scrap paper and hand them to me each week. They'd call me if they wanted to make free agent acquisitions. So just very, very different time. But I oddly still run this league as a commissioner. So we're like 30, this can be a 33rd year, I guess, going in, which is
that's incredible.
Nuts. Yeah. So of course things have evolved. We now actually use the internet, and I don't have to use a dot matrix printer and hand out the scoring sheets anymore. It's a real time saver. But yeah, so I started using this I started commissioning in 1992, and then down the line, as we got older, we started wanting to make the drafts a little bit better. I remember one year we were actually we rented a kind of a hotel suite. We were going to like do up make it feel like an actual draft taking place. And my buddy was in charge of getting a draft board, but he was too cheap to do it. So he just made one out of paper like that he got from his dad's office and just wrote down player names. And of course, we all were talking trash about it and ribbing him a bunch. And I remember my biggest problem with it was, aside from it was janky and it was funny, was I really wanted it. For me, I didn't find it useful because I actually wanted to see the players available. I didn't want to see like who's been taken. Like I needed to know who the top running backs are. And so I remember just sort of like making fun of him, and he was like, yeah, go ahead and you do a better job next time. And then I was like, I will. I'm going to do something where it's like software and we can like project it on the wall and we'll show all the available players. And so I kind of made FanDraft out of spite against him just because he dared me. And so that next year around I think I started working on it. That's 2021, and 2022, it really was like a kind of consumer version that people could download. I mean, granted, there's maybe 20 people outside of our league that actually used the product way back then. But
that was 2001.
Yeah, 2001. Right? So I've been doing this for a long time. Slowly just kept growing. People actually found the concept really interesting, and then really gained traction around the mid to late 2000s when TVs became a little bit more advanced. The technology became a lot cheaper. Everybody suddenly had flat screens that were affordable, and you could easily like connect your laptop into the TV, so everybody could actually see the draft board in a large available way. And really kind of that's the thing that jump started the product, is everybody getting a hold of cheap large televisions.
Yeah, so I when I first used it, I used it with a projector, with a big projection screen, and it was
also cool.
I mean, it was such a game changer at our live drafts. We always go way over the top, but to bring in the digital, it was such a cool product to find. And again, I've been loving it every season since, except for one year when we did it at a lake. But I obviously could have used like a TV and that kind of thing as well out there. But such a great product. So it really started picking up. You said in the mid to when did it really
Yeah,
start
it
going?
was mid to late 2000s is when it really like jump started because like I was saying, just the ability to so the product is really is a digitized sort of manifestation of those sticker boards that everybody used to use. Back in the day, that's all you had was sticker boards, and so I wanted to digitize this and sort of create like a watching the draft on ESPN. That sort of you get a ticker and you get to see the logos and things flash on the screen and there's a clock ticking down. Um, and so being able to put this on a large screen for everybody to sort of engage with during their draft, it replaced the need for the sticker board.
Yeah.
And so once everybody got a hold of like this easier mechanisms for putting it onto a TV and cheap TVs, it just made it much more of a attainable product to use and just a lot more approachable for the technology. You didn't have to be super tech savvy to be able to hook a TV up to a laptop, as opposed to back in like 2000 when it took a lot more wiring.
Yeah.
Unless you had a digital projector, and it wasn't a lot of people that had digital projectors back then.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very intuitive. In this last draft, we had a projector and it was on a TV, so it
Oh,
was
that's
just a
awesome.
fun way to make it just create an experience that was unique and special. So
That's amazing.
so what are the biggest challenges you've encountered with it over the years?
For a long time, the biggest challenge was it used to be an installable desktop product, and so you'd actually download it, just kind of like back in the day when you actually had to like download Microsoft Word and put it into your system and run it locally. Um, and then it stayed that way until about 2020. But up until that time, what would you'd have is there's always one or two guys that can't make the draft. And so there's this kind of complication of everybody's there, but how do we kind of communicate with this dude that's not going to be able to make the draft? So there's a huge transition in 2020, turned it from a desktop to a full online application. So now you basically just run the software from a website. And if there's one or two dudes that can't make the draft, they can just log in, experience the exact same thing that everybody else is, make their picks from there. Everything's in sync and being updated as it takes place.
Yeah, that's great. So tell me more about the features that are on it. So you can do auction, you can do redraft.
Yeah, it's hugely customizable. So as far as like you can, yeah, like you said, you can do auction, you can do regular. Some people do like a combo, and they'll like start the draft regular and then switch to auction halfway through. There's different player pools you can use, like just rookie only draft for dynasty leagues, just veterans. As far as like meeting the needs of like league rules, just about every position that you're going to need. I think where people really fall in love with it is with all the bells and whistles and the features that create when you actually get into the draft experience itself. And that's where
Yeah.
it's, I think you get to load up everybody's logo. And so once you see who's on deck, their little logo comes up, and a big fan favorite is the team walk-up songs. And so you can kind of have these sort of like introductions like they do in wrestling, where it's like,
Yeah.
I'm on the board and here comes the final countdown. And I think it was really like fun thing. There's we got a bunch of sound effects that you can play. You can have like crowds cheer and boo, and load up your own sound effects that kind of for inside jokes. And of course, there's like the clock's a huge help. There's like a ticker running down, multiple board displays. So if you want to see like the traditional draft board or the players that are available. I find that like a lot of what happens a lot is you have the draft board, but then people during the draft are kind of like, I want to see like which rookies are available, or give me the tight end, put the tight end board up. So you kind of like playing around and seeing a lot of different views.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Yeah, and those bells and whistles are the key to it all. It just creates a full-on experience. There was one that we did last year that basically I forget what it was. You can help me with this. Where we chose a player that was, or a draft position, or a player that was like some alarm went off and it was
the whammy.
yes. Tell me more about the whammy. Our league was stunned by that one.
I love that one.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of this. This was a user wrote me, and they're like, this is what we used to do with our league. With the desktop software, you could really kind of jank with it and kind of do some strange things because it was all run locally. but their idea was every time like a random player would get taken, a big like whammy video would play. And then if you accidentally pick this player, for them they would like take a shot of alcohol.
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
we thought it was such a fun idea to integrate it into your draft. We built the feature in so you can sort of do a set random amount of players. So you put like 3 random players and you start the draft. And at one of these points, if somebody takes it, like you said, this really like zany video will just start playing and just be like whammy, whammy. But at a draft, if everybody knows what's going on and knows what that is, you have a lot of fun with it. It's
For
pretty
sure.
hilarious.
That was good.
One of my new favorite ideas.
Yeah, we just picked a few random players, and it, they would go off like later on in the draft, and it was definitely a wake up call. It was fun. It was fun. I love it. So also, your newsletter and blog is great. Tell the listener about what people can find there.
Yeah, we have a Substack. It's just substack.fandraft.com. You can actually find it at fandraft.com. Or if you go to the fandraft.com/blog, we read a lot of articles similar to sort of what we aspire to be you, essentially. It's coming up with ways and ideas for the commissioner to just do a lot, just kind of do the best that he can to really create a fun and engaging league that can sustain for a long time. So we try to share ideas of like a little bit similar. Like you did I think 100 different ways to do a draft order.
Yeah,
I think a few years ago we wrote the 5 ways to do it. It's
well, I mean, obviously a five is much more digestible.
I don't know. You killed it. I love it.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Now, whenever I get the email from a user who's like, "You got any ideas for how we should do a draft order?" Just like, go here. There's 100 of them. You're never gonna have to look up Reddit. You're never gonna have to look it up again. Go to FF Unlimited.
I love it.
But a lot of the same ideas of just like best ways to do a toilet bowl, ways to manage people from like throwing games. Anything that really has to do with like commissioning, the topics around the commissioners might run into, and just sort of to give ideas of like ways to make your league more fun, ways to make your draft more fun, and like your goal too, just sort of like how to create a community of really like owners that are going to engage with each other and just have like a really successful league.
Yeah, no, I love when that hits the inbox. So it's a great newsletter, blog, Substack to be on top of for sure if you are a commissioner. So one cool thing is we're gonna have Randy back on a couple more times and to discuss commissioner topics. So for this episode, it's been a pleasure to have you on, Randy. I hope people realize how special FanDraft is because it's changed the game in our league. And I think that if more and more people start using it, it will definitely impact leagues and make the experience that everyone in the league has much, much better.
Thanks so much. Yeah. Our goal is just to create fun. So
you do a great job with this. So appreciate it. And best of luck in 2023.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Football Unlimited podcast. Until next time, be sure to follow and subscribe to all of FFU's social media accounts for daily content.